Hello everybody, welcome to our first Global Inspiration Stamp Team event, and I am going to show the Kindest Gnomes stamp set, as you can see, and I'm going to do a little Shadowbox card, or I guess you could also call it a diorama. There is of course a suite in the catalog, so it has a stamp set, dies, and designer series paper that you can order. And of course, if you're interested in ordering anything, make sure you contact the demonstrator who invited you to the group to place any orders. Let me just quick show you all of the designer series papers. They are busier papers. So the first one is the one with all of the little mushroom on there on the front side, and then a kind of cute wintry scene on the background. We've got these mushrooms with snowflakes on the back, and then another little scene with more snowflakes. This I thought was a cute scenery. This could certainly be winter, but it could also be used as, you know, a little kid's birthday or a baby card, or I mean, I can just think of all kinds of uses for that. Nice universal trees on the back side. This one has some mountains and trees on one side, and then just snowflakes on the back. And this has the cute gnomes on the front. And again, I don't think I mentioned it, in the die set, there are dies that will cut each of these little individual guys out. And that is the same as with the mushrooms. So I will show you that because we're going to be using one of those today. And then the other side is a simple kind of, looks like a sweatery kind of pattern. I'm going to bring my card back in. This is going to be a fairly simple card. Even though it looks complicated, it's really not. So this card base is the same size as your normal card base. So whether you're working in inches or you're working in centimeters, you're going to use the same card base that you normally would. And then what you're going to do, instead of just folding it in half, you will cut it into two pieces. So you have two pieces, same size, and these two pieces are 4.5 inches by 4.25 inches. So it only matters if you're doing a directional, you know, if you're using the directional side, you're going to want the pattern on the 4.5, the width to be 4.5. For this one, I'm going to be using this small snowflake, and then I'm going to put the mushrooms on the front, I think, just to do something different. Actually, I'm going to set both of them aside, and we're going to do our scoring. I'm going to bring in our scoring tool, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to score twice on each side. So I'm going to go a 1/2 inch with each one. So there'll be two scoring lines, each a 1/2 inch apart. And same thing on the other side. If you need to turn it around to do it, it's fine. You're just going to go in from each edge, a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. And you're going to do that on both the front piece and on the back piece. Right, and then you can just fold these back and forth to kind of burnish them. So these are going to be, if this is the back, this is going to be in a, you're going to do the mountain fold on the edge. I'm never good at that mountain or valley, but it's going to kind of sit like this, and then your front piece is going to go the opposite way. And so they're going to sit on each other's, on top of each other on the end, and they're going to go together like that. So I'm not going to attach them quite yet, though. We're going to do some decorating before we get to attaching them. So I'm going to set the back side away, and I'm going to put this one down and then bring in the designer series pieces. And I'm going to use, like I said before, I'm going to use this mushroom one for the front. Now I'm doing this a little bit different than I did on my sample. So you can see on here, I just put the designer series panel right on the front page. I'm going to try to go around the edges to go onto this on this extra fold. So we'll see how that turns out. So what I'm going to do, put just a little bit of tape. Actually, let's see. We will put it on the edges for sure. And on the bottom and top. Tack just a little bit in the middle because we're going to be cutting out that middle section. We're going to have to do those folds for the designer series paper a little bit so that those are there. You don't have to do any scoring or anything, but we are going to have to fold them. And that, so we've got the designer series paper down. Now I'm using the label, the largest label from, this is the seasonal labels die. This is in the annual catalog. There's a nice big label here, and I'm just going to use that to cut this out so that we have a window in our front panel. So, all right, so here it is coming out of the die cutting machine. Just gonna, I use washi tape to hold things in place. And then you have this nice panel that's cut out. Now you can use that for another project. And you kind of start to get the picture of what this is going to look like. I'm going to re-burnish those folds. And maybe I'll even get my bone folder here. When you're die cutting like this, you can go through one piece of cardstock and a designer series paper sheet without too much trouble. Anything thicker than that, it may or may not cut through, but okay. So there we have that. Yeah, it's gonna be cute. Okay, so now we'll kind of build from the back forward. And so I'm gonna take my other designer series piece of paper and I'm gonna use the snowflakes, and we're just gonna tape that down to the back. Again, we'll have to burnish these folds a little bit because we've got 2 layers of paper. And you want to make sure those edges are taped down. So then we're going to start decorating a bit, one step at a time here. So I had cut out one of the mushrooms out already from the card, or from the designer series paper. So I didn't stamp this or anything, I just cut this out. But then I also have a couple of the gnomes stamped, so I'm going to color those. And I will definitely speed this up so that you don't have to watch me coloring. What I'm using to color are our blends, and I'll just kind of pull them all in. I'm using a bunch of different colors. So I've got soft suede, and I've got crumb cake, and Calypso Coral, Pool Party, and then these are 2 of our flesh colored blends, and it is SU 800 and SU 700, and it really doesn't matter. You can put whatever kind of skin tone color that you want, because we have all of those now, so that's awesome. All right, so I'm just going to start with the little shoes. Okay, there are two little gnomes. I've got a special treatment for the beard that we're gonna do here just in a second, but I'm gonna cut them out with their die cuts first, and I will be right back. Okay, here are the two little gnomes. And since I did the coloring so quick and I did it silently, I'll just let you know a little bit of what I did. I used Pool Party Light and Dark for that one, and Calypso Coral Light and Dark for that one. And the one thing I like about the blends is that you don't always have to do the two different shades. They color in so nice that you don't necessarily have to do the shading part. The hair on there, I used the light and dark crumb cake, and then I used a little bit of soft suede just to kind of make it look like there's some dimension there for her hair. So that's all I did on the blending, and I'm gonna kind of push these out of the way. The next piece is kind of fun, and this is a product I didn't really see initially in the catalog, but it is called Snowfall Accents Puff Paint, and that is in the holiday catalog. And on the directions, it says, shake well before using, apply in a thin line, and then heat with the heat tool to puff the paint. So I had to play with it a little bit this afternoon before I got it to work right. And you can see on the finished one what he looks like with the puffy beard. So you do really have to shake it up quite a bit. It is a bit difficult to get on his mustache without making too much of a mess, but it's doable. Okay, so we will do this, see how it goes. Kind of works like, I'm not a cookie decorator, but I've seen people who decorate cookies with frosting and they just kind of fill in. So it kind of works like that with that surface tension of the liquid. I have to have an even touch, and let me see if I can get that air bubble out of there. There we go. Hey, that worked. Kleenex. So just in case that happens to you. All right, I'm gonna try the mustache here. Ooh, that looks okay. So you want to kind of have it evenly covered. And then the magic is when you heat it. Isn't that just the coolest thing ever? Hopefully you can see that, how fun that is. And it's firm when it's dry. It's not gonna, fall off or anything. It's awesome. It's just adorable. Okay, so I just have a scrap of Pool Party, and what I did just on this one is just to have kind of some something that looks like a piece of ground or something to ground the picture. I just did a little free flow cutting here. I did cut this down to 3.5 wide, so it would be the right width. And all I want to do is just kind of do a little, kind of like a hill shape, so that I can set it in here and it'll look like there's some ground, or a hill or a mound of grass, or something to kind of have a place for these little guys to stand on, or for the toadstools or mushrooms to stand on. Let me grab my tape here. Now you certainly could do some stamping on there if you wanted to, but a lot of it is hidden behind the frame of the card. So All right, and then I put this guy up on some dimensionals. So let me put a few of these on the back. On this one too, I did a half. You know, on the sheets of DSP, you get halves or quarters or pieces of images, so you can cut those out too, and it just looks like it's going off the edge of the page. So I didn't cut another one of those out for this one, so we'll just use just this singular one. But you don't have to waste those. You can use those up too in your cards. So I'm just gonna kind of put this up a bit. It's like it's sitting on that hill. And I'm gonna tuck this little guy probably right in here. I'm gonna put him up on dimensionals too. All right, I'm gonna wait with my greeting until I have everything else assembled. All right, so then we're gonna put the front and the back on, and that's just simple. Put your adhesive along the edge here. Do one side at a time, and you're just gonna line it up nice and even. And then the same thing on this side, just the adhesive right along the one edge. All right, so the next thing, we're just gonna decorate the front, and I just put this the little girl or lady or woman, or I don't know. She looks a little more feminine to me on the front. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put adhesive just right on here so that I don't have too much on there or too much on the back of the actual image, and then it would have glue kind of all over the place. Just want to make sure that when it lays flat, which it will once it's folded, that she doesn't stick out over the edge too much, so that it goes in the envelope. But I like it when they're a little bit kind of off center. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Okay, so in order to put these little pieces on, I needed some glue. So I am using some of the other ladies on this team have such wonderful ideas. I'm using the idea of the sponge dauber and some glue to adhere these guys. So I had done this in advance. I did Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. That comes in the stamp set. This one down here, and I cut it out with our stitched labels dies, and I'm going to put dimensional on the back of that one as well. Let's see. Yep, this end, and then a little tape on this end. Feeling a little fumbly fingers tonight. You guys ever have that happen? Your fingers just aren't working like they normally do. All right, and then I'm just going to kind of put it up. Yes, very cute. All right, does it need anything else? The other thing I did in advance, and I will probably actually maybe not attach this right away because I do need to color this guy in, and I don't want to waste your time with me doing more coloring. So I did, this is for the back where you can write your greeting or sign your name. So let me just show you on the back of this one. I just put warm wishes and then the other little gnome down on the bottom and colored him in. So you have a place to write your greeting. So there are a couple different ways to do it, adding more designer series paper. You guys let me know which one you like better. I hope you got some inspiration from this, and I hope you're enjoying the event. All of these videos will be available to watch later. If you are one of my customers and you wish to place an order, this is the host code for this event. Make sure you add that onto your order. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you are enjoying this event so far. See you next time.